Tears of the Kingdom is a massive game with dozens of different armors for you to find and collect, but of course not all of them are made equal. As such, in today's video I will be ranking every armor set in the game. Warning, the following tier list is subjective. Different players will prioritize different things, and you can even beat the game with no armor. This is coming from the perspective of someone with over 200 hours in the game and is well on their third playthrough. With that being said, my name is Dark Hero and let's get started. And we are starting off with, of course, the Archaic set. Given that this is your starter armor, it doesn't have a headgear and you can't even upgrade it. The only redeeming quality about it is how good it looks, and in case you didn't know, you can actually dye it. So it goes without saying the Archaic set goes into the D tier. Next on the list is the Barbarian set, which comes with the effect attack up, and for the set bonus you get a decreased stamina usage when using charged attacks. Overall, this is quite a reliable set, as not only does it boost your offensive attributes in two different ways, it also comes with the baseline defense of 3 going up to 20 once fully upgraded. Sadly, this attack up buff that you get from the Barbarian set does not stack with the attack up buff that you get from food buffs, but it is still a very powerful bonus to use that is going to turn Link into a menace. For all of these reasons, the Barbarian set will take the very first S tier spot on the list. Next on the list is the Charged set, which will increase your attack power during stormy weather, as well as make your charged attacks faster, and make your attacks have an electrical burst at the end of a combo or at the end of a charged attack. This armor comes with a base defense of 3 and goes up all the way to 20. I was really hoping that this bonus would be much stronger than it actually is. In terms of how much attack you get from it, it is pretty much identical to getting attack up, but of course here it is a conditional buff that is dependent on the weather that is present in the game. And sure, there are some roundabout limited ways to force that, but it isn't a very practical solution. And having that electrical buff power at the end of your combos is not as beneficial as you might initially think. And the charged set doesn't even give you resistance to electrical damage, so you can still get electrocuted with this set. So having said all of that, I'm going to place the charged set in the B tier. Now we have the climbing set, starting with a base 3 defense and going up to 20 defense with the final upgrade. This set quite simply lets you climb up faster and also reduces the stamina used when jumping while climbing. It's a very good set for exploration. It doesn't really provide any combat value, but that's not what it is intended to be used for. That being said, this vertical exploration in Tears of the Kingdom can be done in so many ways that don't involve climbing now. You can use your Zonai devices, attach a rocket to your shield, use recall or even ascend. You have so many more options to be able to explore the map, and I just didn't see myself using the climber set very much. I only used it a little bit at the beginning, but that was about it. Once I got a few more Zonai devices and I realized how powerful they were, I kinda just ditched the climbing set altogether. But I do want to emphasize that it does its job very well, it's just that you don't really need to do that in this game. So for that reason, I'm going to put the climber set in the B tier. Next on the list is the Dark Link armor set. And boy am I sad about this one. It comes with a base defense of 3 and you can't upgrade it at all. In addition to that, the set bonus will simply increase your movement speed when it's nighttime. And while it is nice to be able to move faster, there's many other ways to accomplish that without having to wear an entire armor set, and in the case of this one, it is conditional on it being nighttime. Which isn't a big condition, and it is very easy to make sure that it is always nighttime when you're playing, but the combination of not having any better defense and not having a good set bonus means that I have to put one of my favorite looking armor sets in the entire game in the D tier. And now it's time for the brand new Depth set, which looks absolutely incredible. It comes with a base defense of 3 and can be upgraded to 20, and its base effect as well as the set bonus will give you some gloom resistance in the form of blue hearts that will take the damage from the gloom instead of your actual hearts. In terms of how good the set is, it's nothing too special, nothing particularly amazing, but when you're exploring the depths, especially if you're not doing it with a Zonai build, then you're going to see a very good benefit to using this armor set, because it can get pretty annoying having to get rid of the gloom. And because you can find enemies that will apply gloom to you outside of the depths, there's even more places for you to wear this armor set and actually get some benefit from the set bonus. So for those reasons, I'm going to put the depth set in the low A tier. Next on the list is the Desert Vow set, which will provide you with some heat resistance, and once you have the entire set bonus, some shock damage resistance as well. While it doesn't have any offensive capabilities, and in terms of defense it doesn't really stand out from the average, the fact that you're able to get two types of buffs from one armor set alone can be quite beneficial. Now, it's not like you're going to be in situations where you're in hot weather and facing off against enemies that deal shock damage at the same time. It simply doesn't happen very often in this game. So while it is a convenient armor set to be using, you're not really going to be taking full advantage of it, which is why I'm going to place it in the B tier. Next on the list is the Ember set, which will increase your attack power as well as making your charge attacks faster and giving you a burst of fire at the end of your combos as long as you stay in hot weather. So think of this as the hot weather version of the charge set. Although there is a key difference, which is that the Ember set only has a base defense of 2 and only goes up to 16 with the final upgrade, being slightly below the average. That being said, I believe that the Ember set ends up being a lot more useful for you because, simply put, you find yourself in a lot more situations where you are in hot weather. So that condition to trigger the set bonus is going to be active a lot more often. But again, I do think there is a bigger variety of enemies that are weaker to fire attacks when compared to shock damage, so I also think that that effect ends up being more beneficial with the Ember set. Still, it's a bit of a shame that the attack power bonus that you get from it isn't all that amazing. You are able to stack it with the attack up food buff, but if you do that, you're probably going to be hurting from the hot weather and you'll be taking damage, so that is something to take into account. I think I'm still going to rate the Ember set in the B tier where the charged set was, but because you can trigger the set bonus a lot easier with this one, I'm going to place it slightly above the charged set. And now we have one of my absolute favorite sets in the entire game, at least visually. I'm talking about the Evil Spirit set. Now this set does have quite a few bonuses to it. Not only does it have a higher than average base defense, it also comes with the effect Stealth Up, and the set bonus will give you Disguise, which makes it so that stall enemies, that being bokoblins, horriblins, that kind of enemies, will not attack you, and it also comes with Bone Weapon Proficiency, which will increase your damage with bone weapons. That may not seem amazing at first because the bone weapons break very easily and aren't extremely powerful. However, that does increase the damage of any weapon that is using bone materials as part of a fused weapon. So you can, for example, have a Gerudo Claymore or a Royal Guard Claymore and have a Gibdo Bone or a Molduga Jaw even attached to it, and you're going to boost that weapon's damage by a whopping 1.8 times multiplier. That is absolutely insane, getting 80% damage bonus on a weapon that already has a lot of damage. And what's more is that you can stack the Bone Weapon Proficiency bonus with the Attack Up food buff for even more damage. And this works with the bow too if you're fusing your arrows with Gibdo Bones or Molduga Jaws. Now the unfortunate part about this set is that you cannot upgrade it. It comes with 4 defense, which is again the highest you can have at a base level, so that is pretty nice, but not being able to upgrade it can cause quite a bit of an issue once you are in the endgame and monsters deal a ton of damage. So if you don't have a lot of hearts and are doing hard content, just be careful to not get hit. Having said all of that, because this set can be so powerful offensively and because you also get stealth up and disguise as bonuses, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put this set in the A tier. Had you been able to upgrade the set, it would be an easy S tier, but you simply cannot do it, so as much as I like the look of this set, it's going to be in the A tier. And the next one on the list is yet another legendary armor. We're talking about the Fierce Deity set, which comes with a pretty average base defense rating and will give you the attack up buff, as well as the charged attack stamina up as a set bonus. So stat-wise, it is pretty much a clone of the Barbarian armor set, which is a great thing considering how high we ranked it here on the list. It's a bit weird that the Fierce Deity set doesn't actually have a special attribute or some standout feature, but it does look amazing, and while you may not be able to stack the attack up food buff, this and the Barbarian set of course are still two top tier armor sets in Tears of the Kingdom. Now this armor piece is one that is not a part of any armor set in the game, but I think I should include it in the video just because of how good it actually is. I'm talking about the Diamond Circlet, which you can get from the Gerudo jewelry shop. It comes with a baseline defense of 4, which is the highest and as such can go up to 28. But more importantly, it comes with attack up. So maybe you are not using the Barbarian or the Fierce Deity sets, or even if you are using those sets but you don't take advantage of the set bonus because you don't use as many charged attacks, or even if you do, you don't mind that extra stamina consumption. In that case, the Diamond Circlet is going to be a better option because once it's fully leveled up, it's going to provide you with 8 more defense than the Barbarian or Fierce Deity helmets. So that is something to consider. And for all of those reasons, I think that I should include this in the S tier as well. However, it will be at the bottom of S tier because it isn't a part of a set, and because of that, naturally, it doesn't have a set bonus. As for the next piece, we have Midna's helmet. Again, it's not a part of any armor set in the game, but I think that it is a pretty good piece for what it does. It comes with a baseline defense of 7, which is slightly below what you get from an average piece once it has been upgraded twice. As for its effect, it simply provides you with some gloom resistance, so if you're near the start of the game, you don't have any piece leveled up, or you don't have the depth set because you haven't been collecting pose, or you just haven't leveled it up, then this can be a good option for you. It's nothing particularly amazing, but it's something that I think I should point out here in the video because it does have its uses, and for those reasons I'm going to put Midna's helmet in the C tier. Next on the list is the Flamebreaker set, which will give you Flame Guard and Fireproof, essentially providing protection from fire. Essentially, this is the armor set you pick up in case you want to go to the Death Mountain and are too lazy to go around picking up the Flame Lizards, so you make the Fireproof elixir. It's not particularly amazing, it does its job well enough. I was hoping that maybe the Flamebreaker set would have some higher defense than average, but that's not the case as it starts with a base defense of 3 and goes up to 20. So I find it very hard to rank this set any higher than C tier, where it serves its purpose of protecting you from fire, although you can get that done by simply drinking a fireproof elixir. And now for the Froggy set, which provides you with slip resistance, essentially preventing you from slipping whenever you're climbing a surface during the rain. As I stated with the climbing set earlier, there's many more ways in this game to traverse the map and easily access elevated terrain. I can't really think of many surfaces in the entire game where I felt like maybe this would be helpful, and there's even some food buffs that can help you with this. So despite how unique this armor set may look, I'm going to have to place it in the D tier because the only good thing going for it is that it comes with the average base defense. There's virtually no reason to be wearing this, so again, D tier it is. And now we've got the Frostbite set, the cold weather counterpart to the Ember armor set, boosting your attack power whenever you are in cold weather, along with increasing the charged attack speed and giving you an ice burst at the end of your combo or your charged attacks. Sadly, it also comes with the lower than average defense rating of 2, only going up to 16 defense with the final upgrade. Now in my opinion, this one ends up being better than the Ember set, because despite there being less places in the game where you are affected by cold weather, being able to freeze enemies can be extremely potent in this game, as whenever you attack an enemy after they are frozen, you deal 3 times the damage. And also by simply freezing enemies, the fights become a whole lot easier because, well, they are unable to attack you. And that is something that you simply cannot get with the Charge set or the Ember set. So while the condition behind triggering the set bonus for this armor set occurs less often than with the Ember set, because it is so powerful and so beneficial being able to add that ice elemental attack to any weapon in the entire game, I'm going to place the Frostbite set in the A tier. But not too high, because that lack of defense might end up becoming a problem in the endgame. Now if it's value you want, consider subscribing for more Tears of the Kingdom content, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this for enemies and weapons as well. Next on the list is one of the coolest armor sets in Tears of the Kingdom, the Glide set. Now its base effect can be quite powerful, especially when you are in the early portions of the game, where you just want to explore the map, travel to all the different towers, and skydive as much as possible. And this set is going to help you with that, as its base effect essentially lets you control Link and move a lot better when you're skydiving. Its set bonus is Impact Proof, which will negate fall damage. You cannot die from falling from anywhere on the map. Now admittedly, that sounds pretty crazy, especially when you can jump from the highest point of a sky island all the way into a chasm and you will take 0 damage. But my point is, why would you do that? You can always press the jump button before you land to activate the glider, and that is going to negate all damage you could have taken. But I don't want to dismiss the base effect of having that extra mobility when you're skydiving, and I would be lying if I said that the set bonus of this armor hasn't saved me before. Another small downside of this armor set is that it comes with a lowered base defense rating of 2, going up to 16 with a final upgrade, but you're probably not fighting a lot with this armor set unless you love the look of it. So when push comes to shove, I think that it is a nice armor set to have, especially in the earlier portions of the game, but once you unlock all the towers, and especially some shrines in the Sky Islands, you start to lose the reason to use it. So I think it's fair for me to place it somewhere in the high C tier. Next on the list are going to be the various different Link hero sets. That is, the Hero of Awakening, Sky, Wild, Time, Twilight, Winds, and simply Hero set. They're all pretty good, coming with a base defense of 3, going up to 20 and giving you the attack up buff. So they're right below the Barbarian and the Fierce Deity sets, as they lack the charged attack stamina up buff. However, among these sets, the Hero of the Wild does stand out a bit, as it also comes with the attack up buff, but for some reason it has a higher defense rating than all the other sets, starting with a base defense of 4 and going up all the way to 28. So for that reason I'm going to have to place the Hero of the Wild set in the S tier, just below the Barbarian and the Fierce Deity sets, and the rest of the hero sets are going to be in the A tier. Next is the Hylian set, which is the most basic middle of the road armor set in the entire game, coming with a base defense of 3 going up to 20 and not having any effect or set bonus, so it's just a blank set for you to use that actually does look pretty cool. Overall there's nothing wrong with it, but there's also nothing going for it, which is why I'm going to have to place it in the D tier. That being said, the Champion's Tunic can actually be quite powerful, as it comes with a base defense of 5 and can be upgraded all the way up to 32, which is very high, and it also grants Link the ability to shoot sword beams with the Master Sword even when you're not at full health, which is a decent effect. It's not particularly amazing, but it's a nice armor piece to use, especially if you don't have any full armor set available at your disposal. So as such, I'm going to place the Champion's Tunic at the bottom of A tier because while it is a good piece, it's not a full set, and so you don't really get any bonuses from it. Next on the list is the Miner set, which provides you with a glow effect, and its set bonus leaves a trail of glowing petal when Link is walking, which will illuminate the area. Overall, this is a pretty decent set with an average base defense of 3, so nothing impressive there, it's just something that can be helpful to explore the depths. That being said, I would argue that the depth set is actually much better because all you need to do to illuminate the underground area is Bright Bloom seeds, and trust me, those are scattered everywhere throughout the map, and so you should really have no issues traversing the underground area, especially if you use a Zonai build and attach a Bright Bloom seed to it, which will essentially act as a flashlight that does not waste any battery. I can see why some people would be compelled to use this armor set, but I think the game provides you with so many tools to deal with the issue that this armor set is trying to resolve that it simply isn't all that good. It does serve its purpose well enough, and that is why I'm going to place the Miner set in the C tier. Next is the Mystic set, and this is quite a special one. Now, not only do you have to complete a whole questline in order to unlock the whole set, its value is kind of going to depend on how far you are into the game. So what it does is, it makes it so that Link, instead of losing hearts when taking damage, you will instead lose rupees. So of course, if you're someone with a large amount of rupees, either because you've been playing the game a ton, you've been exploring a lot, you have access to a lot of resources, or maybe you've done some duping glitches in the past, hey, I don't judge. Either way, if you have plenty of them, then you are essentially unkillable. You can pretty much break the game with this armor set. Granted, you won't have any offensive capabilities, but you can still equip attack up buff on top and boost the power of your weapons that way. It's very hard to rate this set because, well, you need to have a lot of rupees to use it, but given how game breaking it can be, I'm actually going to place the Mystic set in the S tier. Next on the list is one of my absolute favorite armor sets in the entire game, the Phantom set. Now this one is quite simple, it comes with an attack up buff on each of the different armor pieces and with a base defense of 8, which is very high. Unfortunately, however, it cannot be upgraded at any level, so it ends up being an armor set that is essentially overpowered for the early game portions of the game, as the defense rating of this armor is equivalent to that of the average once it has been upgraded twice. But once you're past that, it is essentially just a worse version of the hero sets that we talked about earlier. But hey, at least you won't be as squishy as when you're using the Dark Link set, for example. Having said all of that, I'm going to place it in C tier because at least it comes with a good attack buff, and it's an armor set that is not made out of paper. Next up is the Radiant set, and just like I talked about with the Evil Spirit set, this one can absolutely break the game because of its set bonus Bone Weapon Proficiency. Disguise is a fun set bonus, as again it makes it so that stall enemies will not attack you, but the best part is that 1.8 times damage multiplier on your bone weapons, which as a reminder includes the Molduga Jaws and Gibdo Bones, which you can fuse on any weapon or use attached to your arrows, and that is going to deal massive amounts of damage. And the best part about it is that you can also stack the attack up food buff for even more damage. It is absolutely nuts what you can do with this, and hey, at least with this armor set you can actually upgrade it all the way up to having 20 defense, which is only the average, but it is 5 times more defense than that of the Evil Spirit set. I don't think I need to say anything else, the Radiant armor set is going right into the S tier. There are 4 different Divine Beast helmets that you can find, each of them with a different effect. Vanaboris for shock resistance, Varudania for flame guard, Vamedo for cold resistance, and Varuta gives you swim speed up. All of these effects can be found in other armors, and aside from the fact that you can also get them from food buffs, The Divine Helms also have a lower than average defense rating, sadly making them extremely underwhelming, so I'm putting them all in D tier. Moving on from that, we've got the Royal Guard set, whose set bonus is Charged Attack Stamina Up. Sadly, it doesn't come with attack up as well, so in terms of offensive capabilities, it is worse than the Barbarian and Fierce Deity sets. However, on the bright side, it does come with a base defense of 4 and goes up to 24 once it is fully upgraded. It's not a ton of defense, certainly not enough to justify using this over those two sets that I mentioned earlier, but it is a pretty powerful and reliable set to use in the game, which is why I'm going to place it in the A tier. Next on the list is the Rubber set, which provides you with shock resistance and lightning proof as a set bonus. Now, as I stated earlier, shock damage is not very common in the game, but very often when you're vulnerable to being hit by lightning strikes is also when you should probably also have shock resistance, like for example when fighting a Thunder Gleeok. So those two bonuses do pair up quite nicely, even better than that of the Desert Vow in my opinion. Its lack of offensive capabilities and only having an average defense rating means that I also don't have a lot of good things to say about it, but at least it is quite efficient when it comes to making you impervious to lightning and also resistant to shock damage, which often come paired up as a bundle. So in those situations, this armor set is going to be quite useful, so overall I think the Rubber armor set deserves to be in the high B tier. Up next is the Snowquill set, the ice counterpart to the Rubber set, having the same average defense rating, but giving you cold resistance and also making it so that Link cannot be frozen by ice attacks. I would say that this one ends up being more useful, solely because there are more regions in the game where you are affected by the cold, so you are more likely to use this armor set than to use the Rubber set in my opinion. Although in combat scenarios I feel like the Rubber set might be more useful, because if you're using it against a Thunder Gleeok that can summon lightning that can strike you down, being able to equip your metal weapons without fearing getting hit by a Thunderbolt may prove to be a bigger boon than simply not being frozen by ice attacks, which doesn't happen very often. All in all, it's about the same, so I'm going to place the Snowquill set in the high B tier as well. Next on the list is the Soldier set. Now this one does not come with any armor effect or any set bonus whatsoever. However, on the bright side, it comes with the highest amount of defense you can get, starting at 4 and going up to 28 once it is fully upgraded. Because of this, the Soldier set is one that can help you in many ways, especially if you're having difficulty in any sort of combat in the game. You can get the entire set as soon as you clear the first dungeon, and you can take it with you for the entirety of the game and you'll have yourself quite the solid set. Because it lacks any sort of offensive capabilities and because it does not have any sort of effect or set bonus, I'm not going to put it in the S tier, but I'm going to put it at the very top of A tier. Next we have the Stealth set, which as the name indicates provides you with stealth up, but also night speed up as a set bonus. That being said, it comes with a low defense rating of only 2 going up to 16 once it is fully upgraded, but that's to be expected given that you have stealth up. This is more so a set that you should probably use to get around the map faster, or maybe sneak into a hideout or a monster camp and take out a bunch of enemies with Sneak Strike. It's definitely not a bad set, and it is good at what it does. That being said, I want to highlight the extra movement speed that you get can actually be useful in certain combat scenarios, like for example, getting out of the way of a Gleeok beam very quickly. It's certainly got style, and as amazing as it looks, I cannot place it any higher than B tier because of its lack of offensive capabilities. Next on the list is the Tingle set, which is essentially the same as the Dark Link set, as the only bonus it provides is night speed up, and it only comes with a base defense rating of 2 and cannot be upgraded. As such, we don't even need to talk about how absurd it looks, it goes straight into the D tier. Next we have the iconic Yiga set, Now, other than the questline that involves using the Yiga armor set, this is pretty much a downgrade of the stealth set, as it provides both the stealth up and night speed up effects. However, the problem is that it comes with a base defense of only 1, and once it is fully upgraded it goes up to 12. Still, it's better than Dark Link and Tingle, that's for sure, but it is worse than the stealth set in pretty much every single way, and for those reasons I'm going to place the Yiga set in the C tier. Next on the list we have the Zonai set, which comes with a higher than average base defense of 4 and goes up all the way to 28, matching that of the final secret armor set and that of the soldier set. Additionally, it comes with the effect energy up and the set bonus energy recharge up, which will double your battery recharge speed. So the Zonai set is essentially just a better version of the soldier set because that one didn't have any other benefit than having a high defense. This one will allow you to use your Zonai devices and Zonai builds more often, which while isn't particularly amazing as you can upgrade the battery levels very easily, it's still a nice bonus to have, that's for sure. And again, because the defense rating on this armor set is so high, and it even comes with this bonus on top, I have to place the Zonai set in the S tier. After that we have the Zora set, which comes with an average defense of 3 going up to 20 once fully upgraded, and not only increases your movement speed while swimming, but it also decreases the amount of stamina you use whenever you dash while swimming. Additionally, it also lets you do a spinning attack while you are swimming. Having said all of that, it's not a particularly amazing armor set. It also has the benefit of going up waterfalls, which while not necessary, you have plenty of ways to get up those waterfalls without having to use this set. It's a nice and convenient way to get up there. I never found myself needing more swim speed, but at the very least this is a very good set when it comes to doing what it is supposed to do. So at the very least I'm going to have to put the Zora set in the C tier. Finally we have the Ancient Heroes aspect, the armor set you get by completing every single shrine in the game. Now the thing about this armor set is that it cannot be equipped in single pieces, you have to equip the entire thing or you cannot use it altogether. As such, it comes with a base defense of 12 and goes up to 84 once it is fully upgraded, but think of it as having 4 base defense and going up to 28 once it is fully upgraded. So you can see that it is the same amount of defense as the soldier set and the Zonai set. Now what the set does is it will increase the attack power of your Master Sword beam attack, much like with the Champion's Tunic. Unfortunately, it's not a very good effect. I don't think it's particularly amazing, but at least it's an offensive bonus on top of being one of the most defensive sets in the entire game, which is why I think it warrants being in the S tier. Please don't get upset about my placements. There's some more armor pieces I could talk about, but I don't think they're good enough to be included in this video. Let me know if you would like to see a weapons or enemies tier list. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.